Welcome everybody to the Haymakers podcast. He's Chops, I'm Drew. We're talking all things combat sports. We focused on sweet science today, the sport of boxing. We'll be talking about the upcoming weekend fights on August 1st, 2026. And we're going to review also a couple fights that took place a week ago, Chops. And I know you're excited about that. How you been?
Good, man. Real good, real good. I mean, weather down here in Georgia is ridiculously hot and muggy, trying to, beat the heat, as they say. But other than that, man, of course, camp started. So my Steelers, new camp, new coaches, new players, let's see what it is. So it was a good week for combat sports, football. Had a last good couple days, man.
Up here near the fine city of Detroit, Michigan, or as our friends in Canada call it, Detroit. We've opened camp as well in Allen Park, Michigan. We have Jahmyr Gibbs in camp but not practicing. He'd like his extension now, please, and it's hard to argue with that.
He's I know. Yeah,
very valuable guy.
Real quick, when did the running back position lose its importance, or like the NFL doesn't value the running back anymore?
I have an answer for that, and actually it was I remember when the Lions brought in Steve Mariucci as coach, and I want to say this was 2003, okay. And he was a firm West Coast offense guy. He was a firm believer in running back by committee, and in Detroit, we're used to guys like Billy Sims and Barry Sanders. We're like, no, but it's evolved into that, and he was, I would argue he's ahead of the curve, because that position, you just get punished, and everyone's faster, bigger, stronger now. I mean, I got a guy like Derrick Henry now for the Ravens. Back in the day, I mean, there was no way you had a running back that big. You probably have a linebacker that big, but not a running back. So everyone just bigger, faster, stronger, and the durability is the issue. And that's the big concern. People in Detroit, there's still people, they won't admit it unless you dig up their social media. They hated the Gibbs pick, hated it.
I got you.
Oh, value. What did the optics say? What did the models say? Some Bill Gates looking guy figured that out. He didn't. I mean, I get it, but Jahmyr Gibbs is a special player. So, but now the Lions got problems in their secondary, although they're not a surprise. Both their safeties, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, are likely not going to start the season. Although Branch, surprisingly, with the Achilles tear might, but Kirby Joseph's got a bum knee. Remember Todd Gurley?
Yeah.
Same situation. Concerns there, definitely. But you were talking about last weekend's fights, man. It was some good stuff. But we got a little breaking news here. We're recording this on July 31st, and I'm not digging this, and I know you're not. Let's talk about this. Keyshawn Davis has declined the purse bid that was allocated from Top Rank, and he will not fight Devin Haney for the WBO welterweight crown. The split purse was 75-25 in favor of Haney. Davis was demanding $5 million. He wasn't even getting half of that, Chops. I would like to know your thoughts on this.
Well, hold on that. I thought they offered him $3 million.
I heard it went up to $3 million, yes, but he wanted $5 million. But the original break 2.17 or something like that?
Yes, and it's tricky because here's the thing. I want to say one of his biggest paydays was only $700,000. I say only, we wouldn't love to have that, but it was a $700,000. Now, if you would have went back a year ago, after Baranchek and before he blew because he had everything. If you go back after he beats Baranchek and before he loses everything, I could see you demanding wanting $5 because at the time your boy had not beaten Brian Norman Jr. He didn't look good in his other fight as Haney, so it could have been Haney wasn't as hot as he is now. He didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's not how it went down. So if I am Keyshawn. Now I'm questioning if I'm just me as in me, and I can't even say it from Keyshawn. Let me go back on that before I say him Keyshawn. Where is his mind? Is he afraid? has he lost it? Because he's already won in his comeback. You were talking big money. When I say big money, you were talking like you were a big boy. Now they came with it. It's on the table, and you backed out. Even had he had tried to tell and ask for people, okay, I'll sign for this because number one, it's the largest payday I've ever had. Number two, if I win or have a great showing, I can propel myself to bigger fights. And also, why don't you see if it draws so many views and pay-per-view buys, if you can make a little more on the back end? You didn't have to take that. Well, you have to take that standard, what they give you is 75-25. If your name is not Devin Haney, right? And you are trying to win yourself, you as in Keyshawn, trying to win yourself back in the good graces of boxing and trying to have the persona you had a year ago. So you could have worked some things out where it played in your favor. But this just reeks of being a coward and backing out. The money was there, and you didn't even try. You didn't even try to negotiate or throw something on the table. You just said, no, we're out. Mm-hmm. That's shady. It's shady.
Yeah, I look at it this way. I think in one sense, I'm like, well, bet on yourself, dude. You've got, however, I'm doubtful he wins this fight. And
True.
Maybe he's got doubts in his mind. So if he's gonna put a one in the L column finally, he wants to do it for 5-6 million versus 2 or 3 million. I get it, but you made great points. If this was pre the meltdown in Norfolk,
yes,
it's a different conversation. That's also the pre Haney Norman Jr. fight. Things are much different.
And to be honest with you, if I am Davis, I look at it this way. Yeah, you beat Brian Norman Jr., which shocked a lot of people.
Yeah.
But he walked into a nice left hook in that second round, and I don't know if he ever recovered. However, what I do know, if I'm Davis, you couldn't get him out of there. He ended up recovering. He still gave up the next 3, 4, 5 rounds, and the lead was just too much. But after that second round and possibly the third, your boy, as in Haney, never went again for the knockout. He didn't put the pedal to the metal. So if I'm Davis, I'm like, okay, if I don't walk into that, if I can stick him, I may not need to knock him down. But I don't know if he is in Haney, trust his power. I know what his dad's saying, but that ain't him saying it. You know what I'm saying? And is his dad saying that? You trying to intimidate and convince me, or you trying to convince your son? So to me, there's a lot of ways to look at that. But Davis not trying to have a comeback or a counteroffer, should I say? Just dipping out. No, we're done. We're done. He didn't even drag it on. You know what I mean? He didn't even come back with, no, I said 3, I said this, that, whatever. This is why I missed that. He didn't say any of that. He just said, nah, I'm out. That to me, but that's the new era we're in. Whether it's the Jake Pauls that's stepping in there with real fighters getting knocked out, people paying millions of dollars to see Jake Paul, whatever have you, guys that aren't fighters be talking real fighters into what are we doing now? Guys having more Twitter wars than wars in the ring. That's ridiculous. But that is the era that we are in. And to me, you can call me the old curmudgeon, the get off my lawn guy, but it's only going to get worse. It's really only going to get worse, in my opinion.
Well, if you think of what other pro sport does this?
I know. It's getting more like WWE. It's getting more like Vince McMahon's WWE. Guys talk big cash money on Twitter. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. Do you realize your boy King Ryan Garcia, he talks craziness and when he shoots his little promos or when he's talking this, whatever have you. The last few times we saw him fight when he was against Raleigh, he ran. He didn't look, it just
got smoked.
But the guys talk big on Twitter.
Yeah.
They talk big on Twitter. You have Tank who talked big on Twitter. Your last time out against Roach, you lost that fight. And you were gonna go fight Jake Paul. You haven't been back in the ring since. You've been fighting your baby's mothers and this, that, whatever, more than actual. Come on, man. What are you doing over here?
Yeah, it's
You
sad. It's sad. I mean, because
yeah.
what can you? I guess I don't know what, but who can you really say now? I mean, it's just like a real fighting champion. There's some out there, obviously, but not like back in the day. And that ain't being the old man yelling get off.
No.
For legit competition. We get that in UFC.
Yes, because Dana White, you want to be there. Like Dana White says, you want to be a fighter, you want to be a cage fighter. This was good. Nobody gets a free pass. Now again, they're all under Dana's umbrella. So he fights who you says, and that's what he's trying to do to Zuffa. He's trying to grow that. You know what I'm saying? So Zuffa's coming up. So we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. But I don't like what Davis has done. And you talk about somebody that went from the penthouse to the outhouse. Did he have it all in one fell swoop? Lost it. I mean, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Lost it.
Which is sad in a way, because I mean, we've seen people do far worse and come back strong, and it's like, and it was a terrible look. It was really unprofessional. It was beyond unprofessional. But I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Davis now, but I still want to see him succeed. I think he's a really, really good fighter, but I don't think this at all.
Well, the crazy part about it is you're the one who put me on to him. You're the one who put me on to him. You know what I'm saying? Now, he had, well, I'm trying to, because I want to make sure, when he fought Jermaine Ortiz, that was in Madison Square Garden. So he fought in a big arena. Now, he hasn't fought in Vegas, hasn't fought in Caesars, hadn't fought in Saudi. That's where this Devin Haney money could have taken him. That's where the Val could have taken him, right? And when it truly went global.
Yeah.
You're the one who put me on to Keyshawn. I knew of him, but I was like, he's all right. But you kept talking about him years ago. And I said, let me check this cat out. You were on him when he was, 18, 19. So you had been on him for a minute, letting me know about him. So I was like, okay, so I started. But you're right. People have come back from far worse. But here's the thing. What have you come back from? And when you're doing that, where's this? Because Keyshawn is not coming back because of his mental. You lost it because of mental. Dude, you lose weight or you miss weight. You're out there eating popcorn. It's not a good look. You're, at the venue, you're jumping another fighter behind the scenes. You know what I mean? What are you doing, man? You're in scuffles. What are you doing? It took you so long when you came on the Ariel Helwani show. It took you so long to finally apologize, this, that, and so on, so forth, the third. So the reason he can't come back is his own doing, I think, because of what he's done. And now the fight is there for the taking. The fight is there for the taking. And you still didn't do it. You know what I mean? And you just said, no, I'm out. You didn't even try to play any bit of checkers or chess. You just went checker. No, I'm good. Just jump me. You double jump me. I'm done. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You didn't come back with a counter offer. You didn't try to say, hey, hold on. I had that one string of this, that, whatever. But my name, I've been on the rise. I'm the businessman. You can't da-da-da-da-da. And I'd have went back when you were getting knocked out, when you were afraid, when you were running, da-da-da-da-da. I was there fighting guys, standing at Baron check. I was doing. He didn't try to fight to get anything. Even if you'd have gotten 5% more, another 100, you don't know what you could have gotten. But if you don't fight, you ain't getting anything. I just didn't like the way it went down.
There's so many guys, and I'm not comparing him to Bud Crawford or Triple G, but those guys, they had to be in their going to the 30s, have 30 plus fights under their belt.
Yes.
Finally started some fights.
Yes.
Hey, son, go talk to Bud. I know. I think I read Bud said it should be 50-50. That's cool. Okay, but go talk to him and ask him, what would you have done now? Because
I know.
I
know. And if Bud starts talking campaigning, you don't know who he can swing. You don't know who he can sway. But I do know this, because my thing would be, is Devin Haney now, because where we are right now, Devin Haney's the bigger name. I'll give you that. So I understand if he's going to get more of the purse. However, when you say 75-25, because the champ normally gets 75, no. I understand he's champ, and he beat Brian Norman Jr., but let's be real with it. You had that one round that you caught him, and then you won an extra fight, but you didn't win running away. And, it wasn't the fight everybody thought it was. You didn't go for the kill. If I'm Keyshawn Davis, I'm talking trash. You never know whose ear you can get, and somebody like, you know what, you got a point. But he just bowed out gracefully. And at the end of the day, when he wakes up, when What did Teddy Atlas tell Michael Moore? You're gonna cry in the morning. You're gonna cry tomorrow, and that's what he's gonna do, man. That's what he's gonna do. So we'll see.
I think one last point I want to make. He needs to keep his family at an arm's distance. You love your family, treasure them, but keep them out of your business. Family and business don't mix well.
Now, true. Now, I very much agree. Well, here's the thing. I don't know what the issue is because Teofimo, his dad took him while. You remember Sugar Shane Mosley had his dad. You know what I'm saying? There's some guys that have had Jackson has his mom as his agent. So it depends who you have.
Haney.
Yeah. Now, in the Haneys, I don't know who Davis has in his ear, but if it is family, it may not be the best. It's possibly not the best one. But you're absolutely right. Family and business don't mix, but there can be a family member with you that can ride with you that can't be a yes man and tell you what's up. But if I don't know because I haven't seen it. But if it's his family that's giving him this and whatever, and how they handled it, it's sure gonna cost him a whole lot more than what it just did. Now, here's my thing: who else is gonna challenge him and offer him? And you can't ask for any more money because what other champion could you face now and ask for more? And the purse would be more.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it. Like you said, he just was playing checkers. He got double jumped. He quit. He needed to press more.
Yes.
He put up a public fight for it.
Because this you could have done. You could pull out the day you're supposed to go sign and make up an excuse, whatever have you. He didn't even try to play the long game. I'm out. I quit. You win.
Yeah. Everyone feels disrespected all the time. No. Get some thick skin. You're a tough guy. You're a tough boxer, but you can't handle.
Yeah. But see, we're from a different generation where we say respect is earned, not given. So when people say, "Man, you disrespected me," what did you do to earn my respect? I respect you as a person, but giving you special treatment, what did you do to earn that? You know what I mean? So it's we're from a generation where somebody says, who do you think you are? You talk to me like that. Who do you think you are that I can't? We're both of flesh and blood. You know what I'm saying? So just to ball out, that's not how I get down. But hey, to each his own. We'll see. And he's the one going to be. He got to look at himself in the mirror every day.
Well, let's talk about a couple cats that do like to fight and will be fighting tomorrow on Saturday in Vegas, and that's Lamont Roach Jr. and Willam Zepeda for that WBC lightweight title. That was vacated by Shakur Stevenson. He beat Zepeda, actually.
Yeah.
Which a really good fight, but at the end of the day, Stevenson took care of business. This is a really interesting matchup because that's the last time we saw Zepeda. And then we know about Lamont Roach, like you touched on. He in many people's opinion, and ours included, he had Tank beat.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Let's talk about this one. This is a real interesting fight, Chops.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. Roach but he fought Pitbull Cruz. Roach, as good as he is coming off two draws?
Yeah,
against Tank and against Cruz, right? Now, and in fighting Cruz, you basically got the blueprint to fighting Zepeda, right? Now, and mind you, let's not forget, Roach got dropped early against Cruz and still came back to get the draw.
Yes.
Zepeda fought Shakur. Shakur's craftier. Shakur's better with the skill set, but that's the same thing he's gonna be seeing in Lamont Roach. You know what I'm saying? So Roach has seen Zepeda in Cruz. Zepeda has seen Roach in Shakur. Who has tweaked his game plan better to deal with his new opponent? That's to me what it's coming down with. That's to me who's coming down with. And before I give what I think each is how it's going to play out, what I would do, not who has a better jab, this, that, and whatever. I want to hear what you got to say before I.
Well, like you said, is anyone going to tweak their style for this fight? And my first thought is Zepeda will not. Tigers don't change their stripes. He's going to come directly to Roach. He's going to force him to fight him in a phone booth, just like he tried to do with Shakur. Now, However, I think that actually plays into Roach's strengths because he's a very good counter puncher, and he's not afraid to mix it up inside either. So I like that. I don't know how this fight goes the distance because I just don't see them. I don't see either of them backing off enough where, and I don't think anyone's going to get knocked out with like a crazy haymaker, but I could see one of them dropping after just 7-8 rounds of just a beating because they're going to put each other down. I really think that I have high expectations for this fight. I really do.
Okay, I do too. Now, having said that, like you're right, Zepeda is just going to come forward. He's 29. He's been doing it for years. He only knows is one way. He's coming through the front door and he's trying to kick it in. Remember Bum Phillips? Last year we knocked the door. This year we're kicking it. You know what I mean? So now Zepeda is only coming through the front door. He doesn't know how to come around the side door. He doesn't know how to go through the basement or the attic. He just doesn't. He doesn't know how to pick the lock to the kitchen door. He's just coming through the front door right now. So that's where he's going to be. Lamont Roach, I don't want to call it the Philly shell, but he rolls with a lot of punches.
He does.
Now, here's the thing. If you're not paying attention or you don't see, some of those look like you've been punched. And a lot of times, because he leaves, I don't want to say leaves a lot on the table, but there's a lot of time in Roach's fights where he could do more. Even like Pitbull Cruz, I thought at some point, like some of those later rounds, if he'd have pushed a little harder, he could have gotten that win. I thought he could have, right? I thought he could have. Mm-hmm. So Roach, to me, has to switch it up on the aspect of you got to leave it on the table, brother. You have to leave it on the table. You have to, right? Now, your boy Zepeda, even if it's only for one round, try to show us a little something different. Try to a little something different. You know what I mean? Because if you can, you don't know. That's not what Roach is game plan for. If he's never seen it, you don't know how that switches the whole game plan. So I agree with you in the aspect Zepeda's coming straight forward. He's not getting off the line. He's not doing any of this. He's coming straight forward. Like a bull, a matador. He's coming straight at you. Roach, but also on the same token, Roach, you got dropped in front of from Pitbull Cruz because you stood in front of him. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have the length. You have the pop. You have everything that Shakur had. But Shakur turned it up because Shakur got down in the dirt and fought more than I thought he would. I thought he was, I hate to say run, but I thought he was going to be on his bike a whole lot more. And he wasn't. So each guy, you've got to be a little different. And Roach, when you roll, show that you're rolling, that you didn't get hit. The judges need to see that didn't land. You didn't hit. Because if guys think you did, they're scoring points. They're giving that points. And to me, you got to leave it out there, brother. You got to leave it out there. You got to leave it in the ring. Got to.
Yeah, I mean, when I agree with you on Shakur, I was pleasantly surprised he fought the way he did, and I thought that was a masterclass performance by him. Yes. That finally elevated him to people kept saying, yeah, you don't got the name. Kiss my ass. Yeah, he does now.
Yeah. And I was more shocked. I was more impressed how I can't run. I got to be there. Zepeda pressured me. Okay, you want me to stand there and fight Zepeda? You're going to get what you want, but let's see if you want what you get. You know what I mean? So that's where I was with it. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to this one tomorrow night.
I think it's critical. I think it's a very, very, very close fight. I think if Roach can get offline and counter effectively, he can win this fight. If he cannot, it's not going to end well for him. Because Zepeda, like you said, he's you know what he's doing, but can you avoid it and can you stop him? That's the trick.
Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb though. I'm gonna take Roach in 10. I think he's gonna get a stoppage. I think he's gonna
10.
I think he's gonna catch him several times during the fight, and Zepeda, there's no backing down from him. So he's just gonna keep getting beat on. I'm taking Roach and TKO in 10. I'm taking him.
Okay, I'm with you on Roach, but I'm going the distance. Okay. I think he does leave it out there. He puts it out there. He does the work. I'm going Roach the distance. I'd love. I mean, not that I'd like to see a knockout, but I think it's going to be. I think these guys, 135, but I think they're going to battle. but I'm going Roach. 135.
Yeah, lightweight.
I'm going Roach. I'm going Roach distance.
I like it. Yeah, it's exciting. That's going to be in Vegas at the Virgin Hotel, I believe, on the first. Virgin Hotel is on. That's going to be on TNT in the Zone. And then we got the co-main event coming up here. Let's take a look at this. Raymond Muratalla against Robson Conceicao. And we've talked about Conceicao a few times on our show.
Yes.
He's a tough customer. I mean,
he is.
I wanted to compare him to Kambosos in the sense that he's good enough to beat most guys, but he's typically not good enough to necessarily beat a Muratalla or a champion. But Conceicao is a little different. I think this is going to be a good one.
Okay, yes, and I'm glad you said that. All right. Now, Conceicao's 3 losses. Do you know who they're to and how they went down? You probably do. If once I remind you, you'll remember. All right. Mm-hmm. Oscar Valdez.
Yep.
You do remember Valdez, before the fight, tested positive for PEDs. They let him keep the belt, and they still let this fight go on, right? Yep. He was beating Valdez early on, and Valdez kicked in the second gear later in the fight, ends up getting it on decision. Now, was that the PEDs? We'll never know. But, all right, then he fights Shakur. Shakur missed weight. Not saying that even if he'd made that it would change anything. But Shakur didn't make weight. Let him keep the belt. Now Shakur couldn't keep it, but Conceicao could still win, whatever have you. Okay. And then his last, Shaqy Foster. They split. Right now, technically, I had him losing the first one because I had Shaqy winning the first one, and then him edging Shaqy out in the second one. But okay. So you've lost to Shaqy. Either one, whichever one he did lose one. Yep. You lost to a guy, Shakur. Everybody loses to Shakur, but he was overweight. Mm-hmm. And then you lose to a guy that's got PEDs. Now, if this is Conceicao 4 years ago at 33, 34, this is a better fight. I still don't get how Muratalla is. I've seen as high as 10-1. I've seen as low as 6-1 favorite. I still don't see that, how it's even a 6-1. You give me 2, maybe a 3-1. Because Conceicao is still the wily veteran. And when he's in there with top dogs, he gets down. He's ready to go. Nobody beats him up. Nobody's knocking him out. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We will see.
Well, here's the other thing, too. He also drew with Navarrete.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And Navarrete knocked him down, what, twice?
Mm-hmm.
Twice. And I forgot about that.
He got Navarrete once, though.
That's true. Yeah.
War. So... yeah, he's got some L's, but they're against high-quality opponents, and there's a couple asterisks next to 2 of those. And then and he's won his last 2 fights. He got a KO over Rondon, and then he got a unanimous decision over Halber Rojas. And now Muratalla's resume, and it's not as impressive, but he did beat Andy Cruz.
Andy Cruz is young, and he was the Olympian, so they're giving him things for that. Yeah. But Drew, when you look at I hate to say, because Muratalla, the belt, but when you talk about who's been in there, you start talking about opponents, when you start talking about records, when you start talking about who's been in there with who. Again, because he's 37, to me, is the only reason Robson Conceicao is being overlooked. Because when you start looking at who's been in there, right now, would you say what? Andy Cruz is the biggest name on Muratalla's? Who would you say?
Tevin Farmer, those 2.
Tevin Farmer. But Tevin Farmer's fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you got those 2. Where you have Valdez, you got Shakur, you got Shaqy Foster, you got
Navarrete.
Think about this. You get knocked down twice. Got knocked down twice by Navarrete and still fought to a draw? That's impressive. Mm-hmm. That's impressive, because if he knocks you down, he's headhunting, he's coming back for it. But you were still able to stay in there, give as good as you got, and fought that man to a draw. That's impressive, bro. That's impressive. Absolutely. That's impressive. So I just don't get how Conceicao is just so. I don't get why he's such a big dog. Why he's such a big underdog. I don't get it.
Age, and the lack of knockouts, I get that. However, I mean, Muratalla's a nice fighter. Really, I like him a lot. I mean, he's an impressive fighter. But again, his resume is somewhat limited. Certainly can say so. He's got age in his side, but the problem I have here is, at the end of the day, do you think Conceicao could actually put Muratalla's lights out? I know he could, but do you really think it's going to happen?
No, I'm not trying to be funny. You have, what, 20, 25 fights, and you have 10 KOs? You're not a knockout guy.
Exactly.
However, anybody can walk into anything. But I think that would be less likely. If I'm looking at anything, I'm looking at the wily veteran showing Muratalla something he's not seen, something that he's not seen in the ring. Because when you go Navarrete, Valdez, Shakur, Navarrete, Rojas, dude, you've seen some things. You've seen some things in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So for me to look at Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is a young cat, was the Olympian. Muratalla is the belt, and he's got a lot of power, but he's not seen a lot. There's no way you compare what he's seen to what Robson's seen. And even if we drilled it in camp, it's different when it's live and the lights are on.
Always.
You know what I mean? So I'm Conceicao has to worry about not getting caught. But if he can do his thing and be in there and move, he might be shifty and wily enough. We're not picking our picks yet, but I'm not saying he's going to win. But I'm saying there's a chance he could show Muratalla some things he hasn't seen, which may give Muratalla some fits.
Yeah, if I'm looking at the keys to victory for Conceicao, I agree. He's not getting the knockout. However, if he can catch him early and get his attention respectfully in the fight, then he can dictate the pace. And then there's a path to victory and the judges' cards. Now, mind you, he's a huge underdog, and he's obviously not the champ in this fight. So he's going to have to. I don't see how he will win a fight on the scorecard against Muratalla unless he's uber impressive.
If it's even close, it's going to Muratalla. It without question.
But there's a path to victory, right? But I really think he's going to have to catch him early and get his attention to be able to dictate the pace of the fight. Otherwise, I think he's going to be in a situation most of the fight where Muratalla is going to be dictating the pace, and he'll be at the counter, which he may be able to do. But I like his chances better if he's running the show in there.
Well, he does have the height difference. He's got the height difference, Conceicao, right? Now, and you're saying catch him early. And if he catches him early, which was always a good thing, it's got to be because he walks into something. Because Muratalla with 17 knockouts, older guy, and he's reading his own clippings. He's got to believe he can take. He thinks he can take Conceicao out, or he can hurt him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So having said that, I think Muratalla is going to be coming straight forward. He's got his skill set, but I think he will be the predator. And that's where I'm thinking Conceicao has to be on angles. Has to move. He cannot stand flat-footed. He can't stand in the line of fire too long. And you got to dip in that bag of tricks. You're the wily veteran, 37. And you figure Conceicao in his last 10 fights, 4 or 5 of them have been championship fights.
Oh yeah.
So he's been under the lights. He may have lost, but he's not been knocked out. He's not been embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? So having said that, I don't think the moment will be too big for him. Muratalla is the champ, so we know, you're the champ. But you've not been in there with big names. You've not been in there with a lot of seasoned veterans that can bring it like this. So, again, if Conceicao was 30, this would be I don't know that he'd be a 10-1, a 6-1 dog.
I think
that, like you said, that age is really what the issue is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Now, who you got in this one?
I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Conceicao. I'm going with Conceicao, and I just hope he doesn't. But he has. I don't want to say faltered, but slowed down a little bit later as the fight goes. And I'm worried that may be where Muratalla catches him. I'm just hoping he's wily enough. I'm going with, and I know it's an upset, and I know it's a long shot, but I'm going with Conceicao.
I like the pick, but like I said earlier, I don't think he's going to knock Muratalla out, and I don't believe he's going to dominate the fight to the level where he would win 9 of 12 rounds and then end up winning the fight at a 115, 113 on the scorecard. Which is bullshit, but we know it's going to happen, and it's Vegas figure. So Muratalla winning in a decision, but I think it's going to be a really good fight.
Let me ask you this: if he got up from 2 knockdowns from Navarrete and he knocked Navarrete down, so he has some. He not gonna knock out, but he can catch you, right?
Yep.
If he can get up from Navarrete twice, I think he's got a stronger chin than Muratalla. And if Muratalla's knocks cats out, I want to know how Muratalla is going to react when he hits Conceicao with some great shots, some of his best things, and Conceicao still there. What does that do to Muratalla's mental?
Well, you're right, but who he hasn't knocked out were the gentlemen that we named, like the bigger names on his resume. He didn't knock out Cruz. He didn't knock out Farmer. So he's got power. I'm not denying that, but at the end of the day, it's been again the opponents without the championship pedigree. And you mentioned Conceicao, how many times he's fought for the belt. 5 of his last 10 fights have been for a strap.
Yes,
and this is out of 11.
Think about this: 5 of the last 10. And I don't know if you want to say they gave me the fight against Shaqy because they could have went either way because I had him losing the first one, but they gave it to him. But think about that. You continuing to lose. We know you got cheated. I hate to say cheated, but you got the short end of the stick against Valdez against Shakur. So they're like, you know what, dude? We don't care if you got beat. We're going to give you a chance back. You know what I'm saying? So I understand you might say, man, you just walked into this shot with Valdez, but people liked it. They brought you back. Man, you lost your Shakur, unanimous. Shakur beat you. We're going to bring you back. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. I'm interested to see how this goes. I really am.
Yeah, it's gonna be really gonna be a fun card. That's the co-main event, and then the main event we talked about with Roach, Roach's fight with Zepeda. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about what happened last weekend now, and let's start out with so much for my production work there. There we go. Anthony Joshua defeating Prenga in a KO in round 2. But here's my thing on this fight. Okay, I gotta start this out. First round, his ass gets knocked down hard twice and nearly a third time. I don't understand when that bell rang in round 2. Prenga stood like this, and did you see him throw a punch?
Dude.
Nothing. And I'm like, what a turkey. Pull on your trunks and say, hey, you can't be doing.
I know. I thought about that. Then you saw as soon as the fight was over, when his manager and his corner guys being interviewed, that should have been 3 knockdown. The ref missed it. Even if he did, which I don't know if there was even a 3 knockdown rule in effect. However, if he's complaining about that to Prenga, is he going out thinking about that in the second round rather than getting back to work? I don't know. But again, that was a typical intellectual fight. He loses his composure. He gets hit, gets knocked down, and comes back and defeats. But Prenga, he had some knockouts, but he didn't. To me, he didn't show a lot. He caught him in the first round, but it pretty much went. I mean, I didn't expect him to get knocked down, but I did expect Anthony Joshua to win early. But just the way Prenga came out, like you said, like a turkey in the second round, to me, it was. And honestly, because of the era we're in now, people want to see Fury and Joshua. Because back in the day, we talked about, 2 old guys fighting. We just call them, let's do it, and we'll call it the geezers at Caesars. Nobody wanted to see old guys fight. Nope. Now, you had Fury fight a guy who he wasn't even dominant. He wasn't embarrassing him. He wasn't beating him. He didn't televise it. And the guy just quits on his stool in the 7th round. Then you got Joshua, who's fighting for the biggest thing he's ever had. If you win this, you get knocked down twice, possibly 3 times in the first round. Second round, the guy comes out like a turkey. Why would I want to see that? Why? And they're both older. This is their last fight. It should be the last fight for either one of them. Why do we want to see that? But that's the age we're in today.
It's an indictment on the guys that are fighting between age 29 and 20 to 20. Yes. Those guys are putting their battles on Twitter, like you said. So now we're clamoring for Joshua Fury because who else is going to fight?
And I can take the flack. It doesn't matter. But that goes from the participation generation. Everybody gets it. And I say that, and I understand, like we say, I don't say it as much now. You don't play boxing, but the way these guys pick tomato cans before, don't forget, guys used to get clowned for picking tomato cans, right? Now they don't.
Joe Louis had the bum of the month club.
Yes, right? And now they don't, right? So and now they're like, oh, he just wants to stay active. He wants to get some. Before it was the bum of the month. Then they know, you know what I'm saying? You just say he's got a glass jaw, and they called it out. The burnt sugars, those real stories, they're gone. You're not getting that anymore. You're not getting that. So when you have guys that are in their 40s or almost 40 and starting to, come on, brother, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And the fact that this is going to be the biggest fight and it's going to sell out Wembley. It is over there. And even if they're here, they probably still would. But really? You fight a guy at Tomato Can that quits on his stool in the 7th round, and you wouldn't even televise that. You have a guy in Josh, and I wonder why didn't they televise that? You were a heavyweight champ. You're out coming off 2 losses, but everybody loves seeing Fury collectively, not me, whatever have you. But why would you not want that to be on pay-per-view to make more money?
Because it's going to be on his reality show on Netflix, coming soon to a TV near you.
I get. He already had the Netflix money. And I know that's what they're doing. But you already had the Netflix money. You already had it. Yep. And you could have done another Netflix series leading up to the Joshua fight. You could have shown that you've already got Netflix money. You could have fought this fight on pay-per-view, made that big old chunk of money. And then you could have recorded the camp leading up to the Joshua fight on Netflix. That to me, I don't think he felt he's going to look good. I don't know what he thought, but that to me, but that's the era we live in, Drew. It's the era we live in, brother.
So if we talk about a potential Joshua Fury fight, and number one, I firmly believe it better be in the UK. Why would you have it here?
Oh, it'll be at Wembley. I gotta believe they'll sell at Wembley. I gotta believe.
Yeah, or the is that the O2 outdoor?
O2, yeah.
I mean, it will sell out. I mean, they'll fill an 80,000 seat stadium. They will. And those guys are, they're Hall of Fame. They have Hall of Fame careers. They're great fighters. I think it's going to be an exciting fight now that I've kind of simmered down from I was pissed off about that fight. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was a joke that Josh was basically out on his feet in the first round, and then Prenga does absolutely nothing in the second, just becomes a punching bag. So again, now I look at, okay, how would Fury's a little bigger than Prenga and a better puncher and a much better boxer. How the hell is Joshua going to stand up to that? However, Joshua got a $10 million physique and he's a multi-million-dollar fighter, man. He does everything well, but that chin, not when Fury hits him. If Prenga can put him down like that, and Ruiz, Tyson Fury's going to knock his head off if he catches him.
When we used to like our fights, I don't care where you go back to the 80s, the 90s, guys had gritty fights, whether they win or lost. They had those gritty fights, and they stood out to show you that they had heart, they could get gully, they had a chin. Which fight have either of those guys had, and they came out better for it? Because Joshua's got knocked out by Ruiz. Then the rematch, it wasn't gritty, it wasn't hard. He didn't go to the body, and he didn't take Usyk into the back alleys. That was hard. Him and Dubois were going hard, throwing heavy blows. He got knocked out, there against Prenga. You come back, but it goes to show you're fighting a guy that's not even really ranked, and you get knocked down twice, possibly 3 times. Yes, you destroyed Ngannou, but that's what you're supposed to. He didn't know anything about boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care if you were a Tyson fan or not. Him and Razor Ruddock in that second one it was a war, right? You like Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis has had some wars. You like Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe went through Evander Holyfield, Foreman, and Michael Moore. Those guys went through it. We're not seeing that these days. Oh. You know what I mean? When you had the Benitez, when you had Sugar Shane Mosley, when you had the Four Kings, guys were always going through it. Guys aren't going through it these days. They're not going through it. So when you say Hall of Fame careers, I understand that yes for now, and because that's the age we live in. Mm-hmm. But if you say you're hype, you know me. I'll watch 2 old ladies at bingo fight, but I'm not hyped for Joshua. I'm not. I'm really not, big dog. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not.
It's a much bigger deal in the UK, but it's gonna make big money because quite frankly, outside of the U.S., and I agree with what they were saying on DAZN. Boxing's not. We love it. There's huge fans in this country, but let's face it. I mean, I would argue hockey's more popular as a whole than boxing now in the States.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm a hockey fan too, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm being realistic. I mean, like in Detroit, boxing's popular
because the best of the best don't fight anymore, and exactly. they don't fight anymore, and it takes too long. Think about Pacquiao and Floyd. 2-3 years too long. Floyd and Spence, that was too long. We're just seeing fights that were past their due. We wanted to see them 4 or 5 years ago before they happened. You know what I mean? So we're just not getting that now. And it is what it is. I mean, and I still love the sport. I'm still going to watch it. But boxing, man, and I know whether it's Eddie Hearn, De La Hoya, this, that, whatever, they don't like Dana White. Every story needs a villain. And if you want him to be the villain, fine, so be it. But I think it's this card with the Conceicao, Muratalla, and Roach and I think multiple promoters are getting together and joining, collabing on this card. Okay. I don't know if that's Dana making a fight. I don't know. And they realize, there is a real problem in this area because Dana is going to bring it. Turk has the money, his other friends. So I just hopefully we can get back to that time when the best fought the best. You say you're the best, Drew. I say I'm the best. There's only one way to figure it out. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Exactly. Right on. Yeah. All right, move on to the next fight we want to talk about again. This is the Tim Tszyu, Errol Spence Jr. fight in Australia down under. Tszyu wins the fight. Going away on the cards. I know your cards, you had this at 116, 112 for Tszyu. So a little home cooking maybe on those cards, but talk about this fight. And what I do want to say before you answer, though, is I'd really like to understand how this pay-per-view fight was an $80 price tag when
I know.
Your two main undercard fights didn't go down. And we'll talk about that later, but I want to touch on that. But talk about this fight and your impressions of it.
Okay. And I say I had it 116, 112, and I might have even given Spence some because of sentimental, right? Sentimental. I get that. However, Tszyu, I don't know if he could have knocked him out, but I think he did take his foot off the gas. There's possibly where he was always had to ring. We call it octagon control with the MMA, but he definitely had ring control, right? Yeah. On that. But rather than this fight, Drew, we saw this coming. We talked about it in the clips that you and I were sharing of Spence in camp. He didn't look fast. He wasn't crisp. Now think about this. If I'm putting this out on social media, I get to dictate what goes out. You got to believe you're going to put the best out. He looks sluggish in his clips from camp. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. And I know you said he has always looked high, but there was a time when he looked like he wanted to be there, and was it when he fought Michael Porter, when he
Sean Porter,
when he fought Porter and dug deep, and he was arguably top 5 pound for pound.
Oh yeah, he looked.
And I really thought Tszyu was made for him if he could have got back to a fraction of what he was, because Zoo's not hard to find. Tszyu is not hard to find. And I told you, I thought if it went the distance, Spence's athletic ability alone would end up finding Tszyu and touching him. Tszyu never got out of Spence never got out of second gear. He just never looked like he wanted to be there. And he had his retirement speech, and I don't know if he figured at 7th, 8th, 9th round, but he had his retirement speech before they announced the winner. He did not look like he wanted to be there at any of the press conferences. Did not look like he wanted to be there in training camp. And because you never can judge what's in another man's heart. But to me, he did this for the paycheck. He didn't want to be there, and he knew this was his last fight. And I think he knew, I can go the distance with Tszyu and never worry about being knocked out. This was supposed to be at 150. Then they catch weight at 150. Then they said, all right, can we do 160? Then it was like, all right, 158. Dude, you weren't even really fighting at your last fight wasn't the last fight against Crawford at 154? Mm-hmm. 154. So 3 years later, you've been chilling. Yeah. And you can't even make 154. So we thought you could make 150 because we'll do the catch weight 150. but you couldn't even do that. So it had to go up to 158. And Tszyu was like, dude, I see your tapes. I see what's going on. I'm good. I can do this. It just we knew it, man. You and I hate to speak for you, but you and I knew it. You and I knew this was what we were going to get. Out of respect for Tszyu, Spence, what he was, we wanted to hopefully be able to let him ride out and have a great showing. But that wasn't it. That was not it, big dog.
Wasn't it? It's what I was afraid of. Although I did pick Spence, I was hoping we would see something. Get one more out of him. But yeah, you're right. And honestly, Spence is done, and I'm glad he's retiring. He's a great fighter, but he waited too long, honestly, to get back in the ring. But then to lose to Tim Tszyu like this, who's been not super impressive in his last few fights, including this one, quite frankly, I don't know what's next for him. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not sure it's going to be a belt, but he's always going to be able to fight and make, not always, but I think he's got at least another 2-3 more fights in him. Mm-hmm. Even if it's in his hometown, he'll get fight. You know what I'm saying? But think about this. When I say before, Spence is a cautionary tale. When you talk about one night, your life flips on a dime, seriously, I again, up until that accident, and some people say they still don't think he ever recovered from that accident. I get it, but it's rough. It was rough seeing what that man was, and you saw no glimpse of that. Not even early, you didn't see any glimpse of that. And you saw a couple times Tszyu coming after him, landing the body shots, and Spence didn't like that, man. He didn't like that, and it was just. Real quick, it was depressing the entire way around in the entire card. The way Spence fought, what he looked like, just being there, not making a weight or trying to switch the weight, you know what I mean? A pathetic showing. And then, like you said, why that was still an $80 card. That was just a depressing card all the way around.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and I hate seeing him go out that way, honestly. But at the end of the day, hopefully he's right in his head. I know that you're right. That after that accident, he hasn't been the same. Although it's hard to judge because I think when Crawford beat him down, but I mean at the same time, it's like that's Bud Crawford. I mean,
yeah.
One of the best ever. I mean, honestly, it's so.
But dude, I mean, getting hit with shots that he would have never gotten hit with. And I know Bud Crawford will. Think about this. You've seen Bud Crawford knock some people out. Have you ever seen him beat anyone up like he beat Spence?
No.
And you've never seen Spence take that either. That's what I'm saying. That accident, you know what I'm saying? So, and let's be honest, nobody knew what was what, but we didn't expect to see that from Spence the night he jumped in the ring with Crawford. We didn't expect to see that. And I don't care what you say. He took 3 more years off of that. I don't know if it was the mental, his body wasn't right. I don't know. But he has not been right since that car accident. Not at all. Not at all.
So please cool now and enjoy his personal life because he's made a lot of money. So God bless.
Exactly. Absolutely.
We wanted to talk about a few more things here. We already talked about the Joshua Fury fight a little bit. So let's talk about Richardson Hitchens and Edgar Belenga's performances. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, Richardson did what I expected him to do. Now, he didn't take a lot. He still didn't have the power. He didn't have a lot of power. You know what I mean? So I don't know what I was expecting there. But also on the same token, he did what he was expected to do. He didn't win in spectacular fashion, but he won. Not to me spectacular fashion, but he won. So, you know the old saying in boxing, I'll win this one, look great in the next one. But now it is all about the showmanship. So he's where he wants to be. He got the win. Because what was this? This is his first one at 147, wasn't it?
It was.
So is he going to fight Boots? Is he going to Virgil? What's he going to do? Boots move up to 154.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but there's still some things there for Hitchens at 147. This is your first fight, and you did what you were supposed to do. You know what I mean? So that's all we can ask you. First fight, you got the win. It wasn't in spectacular fashion, but it was never in question.
No,
it was never in question.
Now, Stephen Butler put Berlanga on the canvas.
Yes.
This is the 3rd time he's been down in a fight, but he did come back and he ends up getting the big win. But at the end of the day, we saw an Edgar Berlanga at the beginning of his career until the Canelo fight, just dominating. And then all of a sudden, well, it was Canelo, so I get it. But then Shiraz gets him.
Yeah.
Oh. And then Butler puts him down. Uh-oh. Is there concern there? Because there's not a lot of defense there, it seems like, but he's a powerful, very powerful fighter.
But now here's the thing. Did you watch that? Did you watch the fight with Berlanga and Butler? Did you watch it and study it? Because I had to watch it 2 or 3 times. And the reason
I watched some highlights of it.
Your boy Butler had to reach through with some power. He was throwing an overhand right from too far out, like literally school kids.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Number one. Number two, he was almost leading with his head. What are you doing? What are you doing? And a lot of times he would lead with his head, lean in closer to Berlanga, and not throw anything. So I'm like, Butler, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know, man. I just didn't. To me, Butler, and even a knockdown was a flash knockdown, because if you saw Berlanga's face, he was like, wow, it is what it is. I'm on the canvas, but but I want to, before I go on for that, go ahead and tell me what you thought of what you saw in either one, Hitchens or Berlanga.
I agree with you with Hitchens. He did what he needed to do. Going up in a weight class, he was workmanlike. I don't ever expect Hitchens to just dominate a fight. I don't, but I like watching him because he's a textbook fighter. He's a really good fighter. It's fun to watch in my view, because of that. Now, Berlanga, I'm not a fan of him. I don't like him, but I do respect his skill level, and he's a very, very powerful fighter. However, there's 3 fights in a row where he's touched the canvas, and 2 of those he took L's. So if I'm whoever the next opponent is, you got to respect the shit out of his power, but there are ways to get at him, and he can be had. Shiraz is not a super strong guy. I think he's got sneaky power because he's so lanky and tall for his weight. But at the end of the day, there is now a book on Berlanga and how you can get at him. So he's got to look at himself. If he's gonna ride out on his shield and just have the machismo and he's not changed, it's gonna knock the shit out of everybody. He's gonna take some more L's in his career. But if he adjusts, I think he could really take another step forward and become a really dominant fighter. He's that close to going one way or the other, in my view.
I know. Now, did you watch any of the Shiraz?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was not impressed with him.
No,
I thought he looked real lackluster to me. What do you get? Majority decision, 114 on one judge's court. Now, I don't know if he was like, I'm not up for this. I'll do what I need to do to get the win. I'm not sure. However, I'm wondering if Berlanga looks at his win over Butler, who had power, knock me down, I come back, this, that, and the third. Shiraz, you didn't look good. I wonder if Berlanga has a little more pep in his step today, a little more confidence in himself. Does he look for that rematch? Does he look for that rematch now? I'm interested to see how that goes. I want to see if he looks for a rematch with Shiraz now, because Shiraz didn't look good. He really didn't. And I said on one card it was a draw. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how that goes. I'd watch it again to see if Berlanga changes his defense. And if Shiraz is like, okay, Salaz wasn't who, I wasn't worried about that cat. I want this cat in Berlanga. I want to see if that Shiraz comes back. You know what I mean? Because that, to me, that Shiraz that fought Berlanga was significantly different than the one that just fought this past week.
I totally agree with you.
So I'm interested to see how that goes back and how that rock and rolls.
We've seen guys do that, though. Whether it's boxing, we've seen teams do that in any sport.
Play down to their competition. Absolutely.
Game. The dangerous game, but if you're that good and you're that confident, you can pull it off, but that's risky.
They would always say you don't play with this guy because you're throwing leather. You never know what could happen. Never know what could happen. So We'll see. Now, Shiraz didn't take a lot of chances, and he was in no real danger. He just wasn't putting out a lot. He was. I don't want to call him lackadaisical, but he just didn't show me. I need to turn it up and take this guy out. I'm just going to get some rounds. I'm going to do a little sparring for the people to watch him and collect the payday and go. That's what I got. But, we'll see, though. We will see.
Before we wrap this up, I was looking ahead, at least in boxing terms, and I know there's a couple women's fights coming up, Shields and Scott, and that's at middleweight. That's coming up on the 15th. And then you got Serrano's fighting again on the 1st. But the 22nd, that's where we got Raleigh and Tszyu going at it. So I'm looking forward to that one. Is there anything coming up in MMA this month?
There's fights tomorrow. Nothing really major is going on that, people are like, yeah, I got to tune in for that one. Now, also, though, we're talking boxing. You brought a female boxer, and I'm glad. I don't know if you saw the female boxer Hannah Rapp in Texas. Now, I don't know, for the people who didn't know, she was riding her bike with her boyfriend. I think it was her boyfriend. And a guy drives by him. And I guess he might have gotten too close or driving crazy. So they, hey, knock it off. Whip my finger because they said there was a gesture made. He throws the car in reverse and runs her over. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's how, and first off, but see, people nowadays think life is like a video game and somebody come back. There ain't no coming back from that.
Nope.
There's no coming back from that. But that to me, so you hate to see 26 years old. She had a strap, young woman, in the prime of her life, struck down, and then no true word, struck down the prime of her life. So condolences to her and her family. And I think that just happened the 18th, 19th, somewhere around. So
that's really sad. Glad you brought that up, though. Sad, but tribute, but terrible. Well, it's the society we're in now, Chops. Unfortunately,
man, you ain't lying.
We can't agree on anything anymore.
No,
seriously.
I mean, you could have whipped him finger back, or you could have backed up. Even if you just said, "I'll beat your ass," I don't know. But to run over with the car. That to me, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, here's my thing. I've never taken it to that extent. I don't even give them the finger, but I do. I see a lot of bikers where they're out on the road further, these pedal bikers, and I'll just ride around them like, come on, man. So I understand people getting upset at a biker now and then, but doing that, reversing and running them over, are you kidding me?
It's jacked up.
I don't get it, man. Yeah, that's like, there ain't no coming back from that, man. She had a family, people that loved her. And this idiot, I can't get that. I can't see it. I don't understand it.
Until we respect each other, and I know we talked about respect. We gotta have some respect for each other, man. We all share the damn planet. But that's been the age-old. We've been having these discussions long before you and I.
Woo! And it'll be long after us.
Yep, I got a good book right next to me. There's stories in there about how folks weren't very good to each other, and it's never changed. So
I know that's right.
But what's not going to change is we're going to be watching combat sports, and we're going to be looking forward to these fights coming up this Saturday. So we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you, Chops, for your support. It's always a pleasure talking sports with you and combat sports in particular. You got anything before we close it out?
No, man. I just, again, thanks for all the support and whatever. And actually, with this the Muratalla fight and Conceicao and the Roach, those are on the Zone, which is pay-per-view, but they're also on TNT. Yes. I don't know if this is the second fight they've done this, because Mason Abdullah was on her. Yeah. I don't know if the Zone and TNT is doing this because Dana's putting fights on Paramount. I don't know. I don't know. But he's making it, and Zuffa's making it where you have Paramount, you don't have to pay these pay-per-view prices. You got to, I don't know what it is, but we are seeing some things differently. And maybe Zuffa and Dana has nothing to do with these promoters collaborating, has nothing to do with TNT going and DAZN, so people can see it. I don't know. I don't know. But I know since Dana's been in there, things have changed. Things are now changing, and I like it.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Anytime you have, I love that MMA is on Paramount Plus. I love it.
Absolutely.
$15 versus $100.
Can't beat it. Cannot beat it.
Hey, thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be putting out content every week now. We're back into it. So for Chops, I'm Drew. Take care, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.